जॉईन नाही झाले तर hello and welcome everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this live session, why Mrcog and what after Mrcog. So basically, there is so much of doubt amongst our Indian candidates, specifically the ones who are looking forward to go for Mrcog exam. And they have this doubt whether to really give Mrcog, whether it is beneficial for us or not. And there are so many questions that keep on coming to my inbox, and they keep on asking whether it is useful, whether it is useful only for the candidates who want to go to UK, or it is useful also for people who want to stay in India, whether it is useful for someone who wants to go to Dubai after their basic education is over, or maybe later on. Right. So this session is basically for all those people who have questions related to Mrcog, and also for those candidates who want to go to UK, who want to settle in UK or do their further career in UK, and they really don't know what are the different methods of going to UK. So let us start with this session, and let us start with the very first question that always keep on coming every now and then, whether it is the OBGY groups, WhatsApp groups, or the Facebook, why Mrcog? Okay, so later on I'll start, but we also have many guests today, and one of them is esteemed Dr. Deep Datta, will also be helping us and letting us know why Mrcog is important, and whether it is really important, or it is beneficial to become Mrcog. Okay, so let us start with the basic question of why Mrcog. So Mrcog is, as you all know, it is a UK based exam, and it is from Royal College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, right? So this exam is conducted every year. In between, when there were COVID times, it was done around 3 times in a year, but now they have scheduled it for only 2 times in a year. So it is either on January, in the month of January, or in the month of July for part 1 and part 2, and for part 3 for this year at least it is in May, and the next one will be in November or December. Okay, so this will be the schedule, at least for this year. They may change the schedule, they can change it every year, they can have some difference, but generally they keep it around the same time each year. Okay, so you all, those who are watching, can keep on asking me questions in the comment box, and then we can try and answer all of your questions. So I think I have do we have the guests here on the list? Yes, who are watching, so we can connect them? They can directly connect. They can directly connect? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let us start with why Mrcog. So as you all know, this exam is going to give you reference all over the world. Wherever you say that I have done Mrcog, this is something that is recommended and that is recognized. Though there was a doubt in between that it is not globally recognized, and people who have done Mrcog cannot work in Australia, cannot work in America, and how do you say that it is globally recognized? So it is of course recognized globally. People know it. Whether you stay in America, people know where if you have done Mrcog, you also have some credit of knowledge, and it's not everybody can pass Mrcog. So it has got its own standards. Of course, anyone who has done OBGY also wants to do their best to have the best of the degrees, of course. So those who are in India and those who are doing MRCOG, they know the difference when they were just MS or DGO candidates, and how it has changed their life or how it has helped them after they have become MRCOG, right? So of course, this is a globally recognized degree. It's not something that comes easily. You know, everybody knows that you have to work hard for it, and someone who has done MRCOG is considered as a knowledgeable person. No, we all know that you have got a lot of knowledge, you have been through a lot of things. Of course, there are so many guidelines that you must have marked up, you know how to apply them. So it's not only about knowing the guidelines. We also have something called as EMQs, which is there in part 2, and of course that checks whether your guidelines, you can apply them to your patients or not. And that is why there is one more thing called as part 3 MRCOG. Part 3 is more about communication. Part 3 is more about how you can deal with the patients when you're alone, or how you can deal with the patients in emergency, or some patients who are so complicated, whether you can really take care of them when nobody is around. So this is not a very easy exam. Part 1 is mostly about the basic sciences like the anatomy, biochemistry, physiology, right? But this is all related to gynecology, right? So it is obstetrics related things, like anatomy related to the pelvis, biochemistry related to pelvis, right? So, or to the pregnancy, even the microbiology related to the infections in the vagina, the things that can affect, or maybe sepsis part. Okay, so everything will be connected to gynecology in part 1. Part 2 is mostly about the guidelines, all the guidelines that we keep on reading and we keep on learning in all the different conferences that we attend. All the different speakers in all the different conferences, they have this RCOG guideline references. And of course, when you know that you have already read guideline, it makes so much of difference. Okay, just a minute. So let us go ahead and let us start with the part 2 part, of course. So the part 1 is quite, as I told you, is more about the basic sciences. Part 2 about the guidelines, but what all guidelines that you have to read. Now part 2 is quite vast, and whenever I have an orientation session for part 2, I always say that part 2 portion or part 2 syllabus, when people ask me, I say it is like God's love. It is very wide, it is very deep, it is very high. You cannot finish part 2 portion because it is about everything, and it keeps on getting updated every now and then, because there are so many TOG articles that keep on coming, there are so many new guidelines that keep on coming. So of course there is no limit to it, and there's so much that that you have to read in part 2. So it is about the green top guidelines, it is about the scientific impact papers, also about the NICE guidelines, the TOG, and there's a lot of material that will be available even on the RCOG website that will be told to you. So that is part 2. In part 2 you have SBA questions, that is the best answer questions. There's one question and there are 4-5 options, and EMQs is, there'll be a list of options and there will be questions related to that, and you have to choose the best option amongst the different options that are given. So EMQs are very useful for application, as I already told you, whether you can apply the guideline or not. So that is EMQ. Once you have done with the part 2, I think most of the portion is over, and the only part remaining after part 2 is the communication based thing. And this is a fun part, because though this is a very difficult exam, this is something that is going to change your outset, that is going to change your mentality, and it is also going to change how you take care of your patients, how you are going to behave, and it is also going to make a lot of difference in your personality. As we go ahead with this session, of course we'll be telling you everything about these things. Okay. Now the next one is part 1 exam. Okay, so this part one exam, once the next one is in July, and once you clear this part one, the next exam for part two you can give immediately, or you can give within 7 years of passing your part one. But once you have passed part one, you should attempt at least once within 7 years. Okay, so the part two should be within 7 years of passing part one, right? You may keep on giving it. So the number of attempts is 6 attempts that they have given, for 6 attempts for part one and part two. You can attempt it for 6 times. For part three, 4 times. But of course, none of us, we need so many attempts. We all clear with good guidance and knowing the syllabus, and of course with the practice that we have been doing. Most of the Indian candidates, they don't require so many attempts. 1 or 2 attempts maximum are enough for clearing part one, part two, and part three as well. And I'm really happy to tell you here that every candidate who has been with us, we as Mrcog goal also help candidates to pass, and give them syllabus and help them, guide them to pass all the 3 parts, so part 1, 2, and 3. And all our candidates, they have passed in the very first attempt, and I'm really proud to say that all the Indian candidates are very hard working, and most of them, they really don't require another attempt. Okay, same goes with part 2. After you have cleared your part 2, within 7 years you should attempt for part 3. And part 3, as I said, you can attempt for 4 times, right? And part 1 and part 2 only for 6 times. Okay, and this is specifically for the UK candidates. The ones who are outside UK, the Indian candidates, they can apply for, or they can attempt part 2 after passing part 1 within 10 years. Okay, so there's a bigger margin for part 2 candidates, right, outside India. So of course, take advantage of this big margin that has been given to us. And let us go ahead now. Let us see if any of my mentors or our guests have joined. I think we should call them. Any questions? Any question? We can take any questions until the guests join. Okay, so I think okay, so we have with us okay. Hi, Parul.
Hi.
We can't hear you, Parul. Sir, please join. Deep sir, please join. Just a minute. Sir is there. Yes, I can see him. I think they can join now. Sharif is there. Deep sir. Yes, now we can add him. Okay, just a minute. We are trying to add all the guests and the host for today. Just a minute. Okay. Hello, sir. Good
Hi, hi.
morning.
Morning to you. Yeah.
Can you
Can you
hear
see?
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Deep, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes. Can you can you see
Hello,
me
sir.
now?
Good morning.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Hello,
can hear you.
sir.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can
We
hear you.
can't hear you, sir.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes, yes, we can
Yeah.
hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can't hear you,
Hello, sir.
sir.
Good morning.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes, we can
Yeah.
hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. I can hear you. Okay.
Yes, I think there's a lag.
Yeah. Good morning to you. Okay. Okay.
Yes, there is a lag. I think we cannot connect.
Yeah. Good morning.
Not like the last time.
There's a lag. I think we cannot connect.
There is a time lag. Yes.
But I can't see you now, sir.
You
I
can see
can't
me
see
now.
watch you now.
Yeah.
Your camera has got stuck. But I can't see you now, sir.
Can you see now?
I can't see watch you now. Yeah. Your yes. Camera has got stuck.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So we'll
I'm
go
going
ahead.
to go on
And
my phone. I'm going to go on my phone. Can you see?
yes, it's because we can hear echo from your side.
Yes. Yeah. You can see me on my phone.
Yeah, now we can see you. And thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining so early in the morning.
No problem. No problem.
So let's welcome Dr. Deep, sir. Everybody knows him, and it's my complete honor and pleasure to introduce him. Of course, we all know him. He doesn't require, but I really feel very elated every time. Uh, Dr. Deep, he is MD, FRCOG, FRCP, and also a consultant at NHS Trust. And very proud to say that he is also trustee and council member of RCOG. So welcome, sir. And we always, Indian candidates, we always have these doubts: why MRCOG? Why give MRCOG? Really, whether it is really useful for people who want to go to UK, and for people, whether it is beneficial for someone who wants to work in India. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just recap what you have said. About the part one and part two. So
Yes.
you are right in that the first attempt needs to be made within 7 years, and there is a maximum of 4 attempts for the part 3.
Yes. Correct, sir. Yes, that is
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
So MRCOG is relevant for practice in India. First, I'll start with that one.
Yes.
So communication with your patient, especially talking to angry, adamant, and difficult patients.
Yes. Very much. So we
Wait,
can hear you.
yeah, you can hear me, right? Is there a
Yes.
time? I think there is a lag. Is there a lag?
There is a there is a little lag, maybe 10, 15 seconds lag. But we can
Yeah.
hear you. You please continue talking with us.
Okay. Okay. So the second is clinical knowledge. You can remain up to date on your skills and patient care, like the BJOG, the RCOG online appraisal system. You can be a part of the appraisal system. And if there is, for example, for example, if there is a controversy or a court case or a dispute of medical management, you can always say that you undertake a regular appraisal by an international body. So how
Yes.
do you certify your own practice? I think that is important to say. If you're part of an appraisal system, you can
Correct.
you can claim that that is what you subscribe to.
Correct. And so apart from that, I think it completely changes the personality because we have not been taught on how to talk to the patients. And that
Yeah,
is causing a huge chaos here because there have been violence against doctors. And that
yeah,
is, it has been seen that the communication is a big problem because we don't know how to tell patients because we have got so much of workload. But then, even if we are given proper training on how to counsel patients, I think much of it will be taken care of.
absolutely.
And so, what are the job opportunities after MRCUG? Like someone who has done MRCUG in India, and now what are the job opportunities for this candidate outside India?
Yeah. So with a completed MRCOG, one is able to. Okay. With a completed MRCOG, one is able to obtain the GMC registration required to practice as a doctor in the UK. First thing. So you can
Yes,
get a GMC registration, and some specialist training is required in the ONG to progress to the CCT and prove to the GMC that your training qualifies for the CSR.
yes. What is CSR, sir?
Okay, so the CSR, yeah, CSR is completion of specialist registration. So what happens is if somebody, CSR is an alternate route to um, specialist registration in the UK.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so you can either be so you can secure a consultant status in the UK either by doing the CCT or completion of accredited training in the UK by doing the training program. Yeah.
yeah. Or
Okay. I'm waiting for the lag to reach you. So this is
no, no,
the
no, we can
problem.
hear
You
you.
can hear
We can hear you.
properly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
properly.
yeah. Okay. And so the CSR is an alternate route. So if you've done most of your training abroad, then you need. Okay. So the CSR is an alternate route. So if you have done most of your training abroad, then you need to have a log of your training here, have some experience or work experience in the UK and apply for an alternate route to the uh, specialist status.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
And someone who has done MRCOG and he wants to now join NHS. Now, whether this person, what different routes apart from MRCOG are there? Like MTI scheme, that is something that we
Yeah.
have been
So
listening. There's
yeah. So
PLAB.
yeah. Okay. So first is PLAB. Yeah. Yeah. First is PLAB. So the PLAB is an exam that is taken almost after the MBBS. So if you are preparing to go abroad, I would suggest that you take the PLAB soon after you've done your MBBS because you're aware of your whole uh, MBBS syllabus. Okay. So that is true for the ECFMG as well. So if you're going to go to the US, then you can take both exams, the PLAB and the ECFMG, at about the same time because the syllabus is about the same. Okay,
Yeah.
it's about the same.
Yes. And this
Okay, so
MTI.
that is one route.
Yes.
But if you have already spent some years doing ONG in India, you may not be ready to take PLAB because you might have forgotten a lot of uh, the basic sciences
Basics.
and the pharmacology and so on.
Yes.
So then you can come via the MTI scheme.
So what
Right.
is MTI scheme?
So the MTI scheme is an RCOG medical training initiative scheme, and it involves the MTI lead, the hospitals. Yeah. So what happens is the RCOG runs this. Okay. So the RCOG runs this, and what it does is it invites applicants from abroad, and it matches them with hospitals in the UK. So some hospitals will bid for MTI trainees.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So someone who has just done the MBBS, they can directly apply through this MTI scheme and they
Yeah,
can get matches.
matches. But you need to pass the part one for that.
Part one. Okay. For MTI.
Yeah. Only part
Okay.
one.
Only
Only
part
part
one.
one.
And when
Yeah.
someone who has
Because
done part
they
two, then someone who has cleared part two and then now they want to join. Then in
now
that
I
case,
think they are allowing that now because they need doctors. Yeah.
uh,
So the aim is to give them the opportunity to pass part three. That is what they say, right? That is what they're saying. So they will give 2 years for you to pass part three. So you come here, you work here, and you pass part three.
correct. Okay. But for how many years? Like, is there a specific time limit or it all
2 years.
depends on how you perform there in your
Two
hospital?
years. So MTI is for 2 years. MTI is for 2 years. So MTI is for 2 years. Look, you come on a tier 5 visa.
MTI
So
is for
how
two
long you
years.
stay here depends on the
And
visa type.
otherwise, someone who has, because I know one of my friends, sir, she cleared her MRCOG
Yeah.
outside India, and now she from Dubai. She must be joining us now in some time. And then when she went there, she got ST2 post. Now she's applying for ST3. So whether you have done your MRCOG outside UK, it really doesn't matter. That it doesn't mean that you will be at ST5 post when you go to NHS. Correct?
Okay. So let me clarify. No, no. So initially you join as a senior house officer, SHO. Okay. So if for somebody who is very experienced, that is MTI scheme is not suitable. Somebody who's very experienced. So because a senior house officer is like a junior registrar in India. Okay, so
Yes.
it's like a junior. So you might find that you are underemployed if you come here.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have done 1 or 2 years and you've passed your part one, then MTI is ideal for you if you want to come. Okay. So once you get into the MTI scheme, you will get a tier 5 visa.
Okay.
Tier 5. So
Tier
tier
5.
5 visa will be applicable. So the British Embassy in India, in Bombay or Delhi or Calcutta will give you the tier 5 visa. Okay. Now, so that is for 2 years only. That's for 2 years.
That is for 2 years.
2 years. Now, once you start working, you can ask for extension. Once the 2 years comes up, you can ask for extension. If the intention is to stay and work in the UK, you can ask for extension. And if the
Okay.
hospital agrees, then the RCOG agrees, then you can continue to stay. Okay, you can continue, and it is called an extension of tier 5 visa. Yeah, it's called extension of tier 5 visa. Now you're talking about your friend who entered. Are you following?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are following. Like the connection is
Yeah.
getting
So
lost in between a second or so, but yes, we can still hear you.
yeah. So once you apply for the specialist training recruitment, they will assess your application. And if you are admitted to the ST3 program, they call it an ST3 program because that is where the UK graduates get in.
Yes.
Okay.
ST3.
And once
Yeah.
you get into the specialist trainee recruitment, they will assess your experience and they might place you in ST4 or ST5 depending on the length of your ONG experience.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So it all depends on how much you have worked, whether it is in
Yeah.
UK or outside UK, and
Yeah.
how
Everything
professional
combined.
you can
Yeah.
handle. Yeah,
Yeah.
combined together.
Everything combined. And then your visa status changes. Your visa status becomes, yeah.
Okay.
And then your visa status changes from tier 5 to tier 2.
Tier 2.
Tier 2. So what is the difference? You may ask me, what is the difference between tier 5 and tier 2?
Paused.
Ask you to go back anytime. Okay.
Okay, sir.
With tier 5, you cannot get a house mortgage, you cannot get a loan on a car or anything like that.